Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to something a little bit different. Today we are taking a look at Into the Breach, a small little game by Subset Games that I am so grateful that I finally pulled off the shelf, blown away the dust, and decided to try out. This is a gem of a title by the same creators that made FTL Faster Than Light. You can currently get this game for full transparency available out on Epic Game Store, Steam, and I believe Nintendo Switch on one of those platforms as far as getting games onto that console. Now, this game is something I have avoided for a little bit because it looked interesting, but it looked a little intimidating as far as mech games go, as far as piloting big, giant, stompy robots, vehicles, tanks. Somewhat, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Advance Wars from the old Nintendo DS days, but, I kind of panned it for a little bit, and boy, was I wrong. Bottom line up front, this is a gem, this is a hidden title, this is well worth playing. Now, normally this game retails for $14.99 or somewhere thereabouts on your favorite, game purchasing store. Right now, at least on Epic Game Store and Steam, it is half off. It is less than $8, and at least for one time each of the last 2 years, Epic Game Store has given this game away for free, and that's how I got this 2 years ago, and I'm finally pulling it apart to take a look at it, and oh man, this is something special. Ladies and gentlemen, this is amazing. For those of you that do not know, I am your host with the most, TheChronicToast, and today we're trying something a little bit different. Now, here's what's really, really cool. You can get in here, you can continue, you can do a lot of neat things with games, but the more you play this, the more you get unlocks, the more you get unique, interesting aspects to this. Now, we're just going to dive into a brand new game, and I'm going to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is certain kinds of pixel art. This game is optimized for 720p, but you can play it in full screen. We're currently playing it in a larger resolution, and it's set to scale larger, though you can have it smaller. I just want to make sure that everyone that's watching this on YouTube, on their favorite handheld, tablet, cell phone, whatever it may be, has the best resolution to be able to get access to looking at this. Now, of course, for every single playthrough you get, you've got different things like, hey, I can drown enemies in water in a single battle, and you get different cool unlocks just for mostly bragging rights. There's difficulty settings here where, hey, your score is reduced, enemy spawn rates are reduced. You can play on normal, you can play on hard, and I'm assuming if you beat on hard, it can go higher, but I haven't really checked that out. The general premise here is Earth has been destroyed multiple times over by an enemy entity known as the Vec. They're basically large, giant critter bugs. Think Starship Troopers, but a little less scary. And we ourselves are time travelers, and we're going back into different timelines to try to finally beat the Vec. And spoiler warning, it's really hard. This is a pretty interesting puzzle game, but not in the way that you would think. Each different mech has different really cool abilities. For example, this mech right here is a combat mech. It's intentional to punch things and knock them back. You've got a cannon mech here, which has a weapon that can go from any certain distance and shoot distances of projectiles for 1 damage. And all of these are upgradable, and you can completely swap out to different weapons, different attack types, different everything as you continue through your quest. Everything is upgradable, modifiable, power-upable, as it were. An artillery mech, for example, you can shoot, and it kind of shoots down in a cross pattern, which is pretty awesome, which is pretty nifty. I'm a huge fan of that. But as you play, you can unlock different points here that you can go in and you can get different things. And you can unlock, for example, the core classic mech grouping that you're playing with are the Rift Walkers. And that's what we're going to be taking back to the battlefield today. It's really awesome. It's a classic, good introductory set. There's other things you can unlock that have different abilities. This right here is a bot that goes in and rams things. This right here does a straight laser beam, continuous damage over multiple times. These are judo mechs. They take different enemy bugs and throw them at different parts of the map. Now, of course, as you earn more coins by playing and doing different things, you can unlock different things. And today we're going to unlock these right here, the Rusting Hulks, the RST. So there we go. We just spent some coin. Looks really awesome. I have no idea what they do. Let's take a look. So one has a missile that looks like it can jump and shoot different things that it goes over. You've got a rocket mech here, which can do different things, basically artillery and drop it back. And of course, a pulse mine, which can launch things away from it, which is pretty awesome. So we can come back to that for a future video. Again, we're sticking with the Rift Walkers today, which also has a really cool name. But on top of that, you get different pilots available to you. And you get one primary pilot. This is the one that you start off with, Ralph Carlson. That gains experience and bonuses up per kill slowly throughout the battle. However, as you play, you get to unlock different individuals. Like, for example, this one gets to ignore, bug webbing and smoke effects, which are an effect that you can see on the battlefield. Down here, you have Isaac Jones gain 1 extra reset turn every battle. So if things don't work so well, you can kind of go back and reset. It's a mechanic that could exist in the game. Our favorite that we're going to go with today is Silica so far. This pilot is my favorite. As we go through and we gain additional abilities to, power up our mechs and our pilots, this one here eventually allows you to give a special ability, which allows you to shoot twice, which is really, really handy. So we're going to take Silica, and, we'll see how far this goes. Again, today, because it is late as the time of recording this, as well as there's a mini toast in the house, and let me tell you what, as a parent, it is hard to think tactically sometimes. So for today's playthrough, just to kind of showcase the game and go through it in a meaningful way, we're going to leave the difficulty on easy. This is really, really enjoyable. This is so good. I can't believe I've waited so long to play this game, and I can't believe we waited so long to dive into it in this video. So let's start on in. Oh yeah, that's right. We're going to begin. Dropping on into a different timeline to see if we can beat back the Vec. Oh man, I was designed for the purpose of locating the central Vec hive, but I do not detect that. Now, when you normally start this, because we've unlocked some of these maps, because we have gone through and played through a few times already, you start with one of these maps that you can go to. And as you beat one, you can get access to another, and another. And eventually, you'll be able to take a final map to kind of dive in and beat the final boss. You don't have to do that in a linear fashion. After you do 1 or 2 islands, you could dive right in. The complexity scales with your mechs, which you are slowly upgrading through the playthrough. Now, there's interesting things up top here. So, for example, you can get different corporate reputations, which when you complete island tasks, you can then spend them on upgrades, gear, power-ups. These right here are your reactor cores that you use to upgrade your mechs. You can click on a mech, and as you get reactor cores, you can install them and do different things. Like I can use these to power the double shot, or to make my fist do additional damage, so 4 damage instead of just the normal 2. Give myself extra health points, the ability to move, so on and so forth. Each mech has its own ability to do that. You go into these areas here, and look at that. You get access to different narratives. Now, the first island we're going to dive into here is, of course, Old Earth, effectively. This guy right here is talking about this place that's full of old Earth tech, old Earth artifacts, like old, it's like a museum island of sorts. And they're doing what they can to fight back. Now, we are here to help. So we're going to dive on in. And at most, you're always going to be able to complete enough events here in provinces or states. All but 3. The last 3 are always going to be destroyed. So you really have to pick and choose what you're going to unlock. Once you do enough of these to where there's 3 remaining, so 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, the remainder are destroyed and you come back for a major final battle at Corporate HQ. Now, these right here will give you the opportunities with bonus objectives. With the stars, you can get access to slowly getting more of these, which is corporate reputation, so you can buy more upgrades, or you get access here to the lightning bolts, which are going to power your power grid. This is your hit points effectively throughout the entire campaign that we're going to be playing, which can last from anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how difficult the settings are set and how good at the game you may be. The more you power this up to full, which means, hey, cool, the power buildings, which are required to power your mechs, buildings and civilian infrastructure, as they take hits, this will slowly go down. But if you get this full and you keep getting more of these symbols, eventually you can start powering up your defense grid. It's overpowering your hit point pool, which means anytime a defensive civilian building takes damage, right now there's a 15% chance that it will ignore that damage. I've seen this get as high as 28. I haven't really focused on it too heavily, but it is a nice change of pace when a bug tries to smash a building and it doesn't work. Now, of course, over here is the save people from every single map and province that you dive through, which is pretty cool. I enjoy this quite a bit. It works out well, and it's a good allegory to kind of see how well you are scoring, how well you're succeeding at this. Of course, if you go on normal and harder difficulties, you'll be able to save more people, but it's a risk versus reward scenario, and more could be lost along the way. So, what do we want to tackle today? I'm always a fan where our power grid is pretty good right now. I want to get level ups and unlocks for our, our pilots and our mechs and things like that. And of course, we've got different pilots that are here. This looks like someone, I don't know, some sort of synthetic individual that's hanging out with us. And here is Sergey Lee, which is another individual. We don't know what they particularly do. Their abilities are unknown just yet until they go through and get their XP. That's where a starting pilot, where you get 2 extra XP per kill, will allow you to slowly unlock those as you go through. But, it is what it is. Let's go into the Antiquity Row. Vec threat is detected. Bonus objectives: kill at least 5 enemies and protect the Old Earth bar. Warning, there is air support, which is an environmental hazard or help, as it were, on this map. And we'll kind of show you how that is rather than diving in and explaining it in too much detail. So they're saying here that this region is an old airfield, which can provide air support. Cool stuff. Up here, you can see this is the bar that we're going to have to protect. And these right here are the VEC that are beginning to bubble up. Now, we can put our mechs on top of there eventually, or when new ones pop up, we take damage, but we can prevent them from coming onto the battlefield. But we can deploy anywhere in these deployment zones, and each of these mechs have different weapon types, movement abilities, and damage that they can do. Now, of course, we have to hold out for 5 turns, in which case any VEC that are on the table or the board will retreat, which is pretty darn awesome. And again, we have to try to kill at least 5 enemies, so we have to be aggressive. Now, we're going to put our mechs here just in a straight-up holding pattern. These ones right here, if any point you can come down on your keyboard, at least here on PC, hit Control, and it'll show you what they do, kind of how they're going to affect you in battle. This one is a flying unit. It can do a certain amount of movements, but this one does boost all of the stats of all of the other mechs, or it potentially can. And so once we go and hit Confirm, we want to make sure that we're going to be in a situation that's ready to take advantage of this. Now, of course, you'll see occasionally time pods that'll come in from different timelines. And what happens when that does is if you send a mech, they go stand on it, you get extra unlocks. They could be pilots, extra gear, reactor cores that power up your mechs, whatever it may be. What's interesting here is the AI will always show you where it's going to attack, where it's going to go next. So you can see where it moves, and you can see what it's going to do to make sure that, you can either disrupt that, let it happen, or whatever it may be. All of these buildings here count for certain number of, research power. This right here is power grid of 1. These over here are power grid of 2. Here again is, of course, our bar that we need to protect for that bonus objective. This mech over here is going to be underneath this airstrike. Bombs will be dropped here, instantly killing a unit. So we're not going to try to take this particular bug out unless we actually have extra unit and we can deal with it, because it's already going to be handled by the air support that's going to be coming on in. This one over here, we have to take care of this, though. If we're not careful, it's going to be a problem. So we're going to take our mech over here, going to come up here, and we're going to take the Titan Fist, punch it up for 2 damage. There we go, mech and vehicle down. While we're here, we might as well try to shoot this. Why not? It's right here. We're going to bump it back a little bit. And that was actually a mistake, because now, as you can see, that actual damage, while it did go off the vehicle and it came from a guaranteed kill, it's not going to land on our mech. Now, coming over here in the control button, you can see this is going to do 1 damage. And so we'll use that to kind of illustrate the mechanics that are coming up from here as we move forward. Now, one thing that I'm going to try to do here is move our artillery mech over here. And this weapon allows us to push mechs. So we're going to hit this here, bump this over, and this mech is going to suddenly take damage from the bugs underneath coming up to try to impact it. And we're going to let that roll on through, and we're going to see what happens. So here comes the artillery strikes from the air strikes. Bada bing, bada boom. It does its attack and misses. The bug comes up from underneath. So that right there stopped it from coming in for 1 turn and took damage itself. Now you can see that we do need to move because our mech right over here is in a kill zone. Now for this vehicle, if we had taken that damage from that VEC bug, we could come over here, hit mech repair ourselves. Technically, you can move around and repair other vehicles if you want. We're going to come up here and get some damage going this way, push this bug all the way down there, so it's only going to attack the mountain. It's not going to go in and attack the actual building. It is important to note as well, you don't have to kill everything to win. We are looking at killing things because we've got a bonus objective in order to, get some extra ability to power and purchase things as we finish up this particular island section. But the main goal is to keep all of your buildings intact if possible and survive to the end of the round. And when you do that, you're going to be well situated and well positioned to, complete the mission. We're going to wander over here. We're going to secure that pod. There we go. The time pod is securely situated. And we're going to move Silica out of the way. And while we're at it, we're going to eliminate this bug. Squish, squish. There we go. And just like that, we are ready to go for the next turn. Enemy turns coming on up. There comes the airstrike, blowing up the mountain, doing all sorts of things like that. More bugs coming on in. Now, right now, we're going to see this one's going to likely move, so they're no longer in that situation. But we got to be careful how we position our mech so that we're not going to be taking things out of context or putting ourselves into a bad spot. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a cheeky maneuver because we have to kill a little bit more. So I want these enemy Vex to come on in because we want to kill them. Otherwise, I would just kind of take the damage and let it be. We're going to get in here, take some damage, move this bug all the way over here to this kill zone, and then we're going to let him be. And now we're going to come back here. Ooh, we might have already messed this up, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to come over here. We're going to try to do what we can and move this bug so it's going to be not taking damage into these buildings, but over here just kind of harmlessly moving to one side. Now, of course, we're going to move up here with Silica to kind of block one of these mechs from coming on in. It should be fine. We're going to end the turn. We have 2 more kills that we need to make. This is going to effectively be our last turn here as we get ready to prep and move on forward. Oh, and here is a web one. These vehicles, I keep calling them vehicles. These Vex do a lot of damage if you're not careful. So they can web things to make it so you can't move, but they can do a lot of damage, 3 damage. So if you're not careful, your vehicles are going to be pretty darn hosered up. But that being said, they are pretty harmless as far as in terms of they don't have that many hit points. 1 damage going on in. We kill one. The buildings are taken care of, and we have met our kill count. And so with that, we're going to come up here. And just for kicks, because we can do the damage, we can take credit for the kill, we're going to do it. It'll be fine. And just like that, victory in 1 turn. So far, we've protected the old bar. We've gotten our bonus items up there. We should be good to go. And here it is. Vehicles go through and do their airstrike, and that's it. The Rift Walkers, that is us. We have completed this particular level. Oh, man. These matches are quick and fast and brutal, and if you make a mistake, it is very, very painful. So we're going to hit that continue button. We're going to see what we get in our time pod. In this particular case, it looks like it's actually a pilot. Lily Reed gained +3 move on the first turn of every mission. That's pretty awesome. Now, of course, 19 out of 25 XP. If we use her for a pilot and we continue to level up, we'll actually be able to see that they can do additional skills and abilities. We'll see how that goes. But we do get a reactor core, which is really, really nice. Now, as you can see that we've completed one of these, now suddenly 2 more pop up. Now, because we're still doing good on Power Grid, I'm not going to chase that down. We're going to continue to go over to Old Town because we'll eventually be able to get some extra stuff. But first, let's take a look at where we're at. We can come in here and start installing different reactor cores to these. And you can uninstall them. You can power them into things, move them from here to here to here, wherever it is. But once you install a reactor core to a mech, you can no longer bring it back. Now, let's see. We don't know what this pilot does. We're going to swap them out. So there you go. A lot of extra movement. It'll work out just fine. That'll be all right. Now, here might be a good place to install that particular, one, as it were. Now, eventually, actually, here's a better idea. We should swap out Silica, is what we should do, and put Silica over here on this, because this is the vehicle that I eventually want to have shoot twice by not moving, so we can just get that extra damage. This is going to take a lot of ability to get in here and get a lot of this stuff taken care of. So we're going to install the one that we have. For now, we're going to put it up here in the health. But eventually, if we get 2 of these, we can put them over in a double shot, or we can put them over here into this area. So right now, we're going to put it up here in this, and we're going to leave it be. It's installed. It's good to go. We'll come back and we can swap that out later. So right now, we're going to go over to Old Town. Looks like there is an old threat detected, a Vec threat detected. 2 skull, 2 star points to defend the tanks. That'll give us the reputation that we need. So these are 2 old Earth tanks that I believe are pretty useless up front. They only have 1 hit point, but eventually they do get powered up and turned on. I can do some awesome, awesome stuff. Man, look at the pixel art is just really, really good. We're going to get up here and do some cool stuff. So forests, they can help out a little bit, mostly by catching fire. And if you move your vehicles through, your mechs through different waters and stuff, a lot of times you can't shoot, you can't do a lot of damage. But sometimes, you can. It really depends on the mission that you're dealing with. So here we are dropping on in. We got to get in here and wreck these particular Vex, these monstrosities as they roll through. We can't let them get the upper hand, especially. That would be very, very unfortunate. So we're going to take our vehicle up here. We're going to drop it over here to push these 2 enemy entities out of the way. And we're going to use this to just come in here and crush this one. There we go. We broke the ice, unfortunately. But because this tank is no longer under threat, we can get over here with Silica and come in here, damage this bug all the way back, and it will stop this as well, which will be nice, and take damage in the process. We're going to end our turn. 4 turns left here from this particular mission. Again, these are very, very quick and fast. You can see a mech or a Vec tried to come up out of the ground. It was blocked, and the one on the surface took damage, and the one below was prevented from showing up, which is nice. And just like that, ladies and gents, we immediately are dealing with some interesting, cool stuff. We're going to come over here with Silica and prep this up so that we can get some good line of fire here, because we're going to move Sergey over here, and we're going to drop this down here to push this Vec all the way over. And of course, then we're going to finish up our turn originally, get in here and smash away. And of course, we're going to move up just in case with Sergey, and we're going to hold our ground. And in our turn, going into turn 3, we'll have 3 Vex on the board after this. The flying one went in and missed. Oh, we've got 2 Webbers. These are very dangerous. They can prevent movement, and they do 3 damage a pop. They're very, very, very dangerous. So right here, we could just move out of this threat zone. I think that would be appropriate. I think that would be okay. So we're going to get in there. Ooh, I wonder if we can do some damage. We can definitely stand here. If you ever are in a situation where you move somewhere you're not really hoping that you would be at, or you're not really sure how it worked out, you can come in here and undo that move. Now, attack order, you can come up here and see what they're going to do, where they're going to do, how much damage they're going to go. But, we don't have to worry about that right now. So, of course, we're going to take Lily, and we're going to punch away. Boom, there we go. That Vec is taken care of and out of the way. Again, we're going to use the exact same tactic. Move that Vec all the way over, and use this to get in here and do the damage and finish it off. Now, this one right here, the Hornet has nowhere to go. It's going to attack an empty space, and we'll deal with that next time around. So just like that, we're going to end the turn, and we're going to see what happens. There goes the attack. They're going to move. 2 more are going to pop up, and this will be our last round to keep these tanks taken care of. If we're lucky, they'll be able to attack, and it looks like they've just come online, which is nice. That is going to be very, very handy. So we're going to use them to do some damage. There we go. They're out in the middle of nowhere. This one is going to get in and squish this one up. There we go. Not too shabby. This one's going to get in here. Oh, we don't want to move the tanks over there. That could be bad. That's rough. So we're going to get in here and do some damage first off. Boom. There we go. And now we're going to use our artillery piece to just straight up just land one on it for 1 damage. There it is. Now we haven't gone in and done too much stuff. We could move up here. It'll be fine. But this Hornet's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to do any damage, so we're going to let it be. Then I mean he's going to do his attack, and then it's going to disappear and burrow on down and fly on off. So there we go. We've completed yet another particular map. Like I said, this goes relatively quick. It took us about 6 minutes, 7 minutes to kind of get into the game. Another few minutes to explain kind of some of the scenarios you're going to run into. And you've seen it all. You've seen generally how it works. Let's keep going. So Lily got a promotion, which is pretty awesome. Got enough XP there, which is great. And ooh, +1 mech reactor on her mech. That's really, really cool. Now you can see that we got 1 more here that we can tackle, and then 3 of these sites are going to drop on off. So we have to be very careful on what we do. Just going in for 1 energy on the power grid, not very helpful for us right now. I want to at least grab 1 of these right here, so we can either do this to defend the artillery support and protect the coal plant, or we could go in here and take less than 3 grid damage, protect the emergency batteries. We have some options. We have power available over here on the combat mech because of where she's at right now. Just because we don't necessarily have enough to boost the damage, we're going to put it into health, and this will be all right. So it'll be just fine. We could go in here in virtual simulator, test the mech, make sure it's all working well, but we kind of know what we're dealing with. We should be all right. I think we'll tackle this for now. I think this will be all right. And you can always get a preview of what sort of map layout you're dealing with. Being able to defend the artillery, we'll try this out. We'll see what happens. We got 2 Hornets out here. We'll leave our artillery mech herself way back there to be a little bit more helpful. There we go, dropping on in. What's that noise? The mechs are here. Oh, baby. Diving in. They're doing some damage. They're trying to take down the coal plant. They're putting us into a bind, which is not always super great. Because what that means, unfortunately for us, is if we, get this out of the way, get in here. If we attack this bug from, let's say we clear this particular Hornet, we get, Lily in here and we attack, it's going to not only just deal damage, it's going to push us into the vehicle and deal damage there. So what we're going to do, we could try to do this, but it's going to deal damage all the way around. So first things first, we're going to do some damage here, push this particular bug out of the way. And now we're going to go in here and do our artillery. A direct impact on this bug is going to push this vehicle out of the way, and it's not going to hurt anybody or push any other bugs where they got to go. So we're now in a safe location that should be all right. We can go in and get Lily to come down here and punch this mech into pieces. This Vec, as it were. So there we go. Round 1 is ready to rock and roll. Oh, I forgot we actually have artillery. Oh, that's cool. We don't want to hurt ourselves, so we're just gonna move slightly out of the way. We'll try to take advantage of that artillery piece later on. So there we go. End turn. We're going to ignore that action that's available. We don't have much that we can do with it. This particular Hornet's going to try to attack, and it's going to miss. It looks like we got a floaty one, and of course, another one, a Scarab. So the Shell Scion and the Scarab. Not the best. Not the best thing in the world to deal with, but we can do what we can. We're going to come up here, and we're going to use this Old Earth artillery to the best of our ability to get some extra damage rolling in, and boom, there it goes. And then we're going to move Silica up there, Bazap away. There it is. And, not too shabby. We'll get Lily up here. We're going to punch this one into the other one to do some extra damage. Boom. There we go. Not too shabby. Now, there's not a lot that we can do this time around for positioning. We kind of, made this resource of our artillery mech. And with Sergei, there's not a lot of good places we can go. So I'm just going to stay put where we are. We're going to end our turn. It'll be fine. We'll see what happens. 3 turns left. Another Hornet pops on up. And, of course, a Scion, a Shell Scion, decided to do its thing. This is pretty relatively straightforward. We're going to use Silica to get up here, push this Vec all the way to the side. We're at a large enough distance that, of course, that didn't do enough damage. But we can get up here, do some more stuff. Oh, interesting. 0 damage. What are we dealing with here? Hardened Carapace. This one has an upgrade on it, reducing all incoming weapon damage by 1. So that means we're going to largely have to deal with Lily going up there because she can do 2 damage. It's the only way we're going to be able to deal with that. And so that's all right. We're going to undo our move, try to go somewhere else. Interesting. This can do 2 damage, but we're completely out of position to make that work. So we're going to try some slightly different tactics. We're going to get up here. We're going to dynamite the mountain and try to get this bug to move by pushing it out of the way. Maybe we can get it closer to deal with, the artillery support at the end of the day. So Lily's going to come up here and punch this back. There we go. Continuing to try to keep the area clear. And we're going to go down to 1 more turn. So there it is, the Hornet up top of the Hardened Carapace. Doing an attack, not really hurting stuff. And it's going to get a little bit closer. Oh, we got the one coming in here in webbing. That means we can't easily move. That's not super great. But we are able to get in here and do some damage with Sergei doing some fantastic stuff. Which is not too shabby. Now, there's not a lot of places we can go, unfortunately, with this. So we're going to bump this back here just to kind of get out of the way. And we're going to use our own artillery to push this particular bug mech out of the way. There it is. So it's not going to be hurting anything on our own. In fact, it's going to be hurt by its own bug, which is, it's all right. So we're just going to move up here with Silica. We're going to leave everything be. We're going to let it go. It'll be fine. There it goes, the attack. It misses. Here comes the other attack. It's going to go on and do 1 damage. Boop. There it is right there. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't have to kill them all. They left. We maintained our protection, and we got our extra bonuses to our power grid as well as our corporate reputation. Oh, baby. And here it is. We've secured a region, and seismic activity is going to kick on in, I believe. Oh, they're giving us an extra one, which is nice. So in that case, we'll take the pasture. Why not? We'll start that mission. We'll dive on in. And if we're lucky, after this, we'll be able to go in and do the HQ and complete the first Old Earth Island. Now, these are very dangerous. They do 3 damage each. It looks like it's got Hardened Carapace. So we're going to have Lily come up here and do some hard damage here as well. I haven't run across any of these coming in and doing hardened carapaces yet. So that's pretty cool that we're seeing some variations here. So again, we receive less than 3 damage to the grid, which are the buildings, and protect the energy batteries as well, which are right down here. We got to make sure that those do not get wrecked. Now, Lily's going to come in here. This is going to be more than enough, even with the reduced damage. Push it back to wreck the mech. It'll be just fine. And of course, we're going to come in here and do 1 damage. Boop. Knock it on back. Move up with Sergei. Drop it down, and that'll be enough to clear the board at least once. We'll have 2 more coming in the next time around. Here we go, coming down with 4 turns left. Oh, baby, we've got a Hornet and, of course, the big, giant, leapy, angry bugs. the leapers with one more coming on in. Now we do have to basically get in here and do enough damage to kill this, otherwise bad stuff is going to happen. This one does not appear to have a hardened carapace, so there we go. We did 1 damage, pushed it back. If we didn't do enough damage when we moved it, it would just go from this to dealing this damage over there. Because it does 3 damage, leapers are especially dangerous. We're going to get Silica up here, do 1 damage. All we need to really do is to get that to bump on over. But we'll move Sergey over here just in case to make sure that we can finish this off. But there we go. Another Vec kill. Now again, we are playing on easy, so it is a good opportunity to note that if you are first learning the game, I highly recommend playing on easy. It allows you a small little bit of flexibility should you make any mistakes floating around. But it's a good way to learn the game and get into that action economy, which I find that I really enjoy. I cannot recommend this game enough. It is one that's really caught me off guard. I did not expect to like this game. I saw this as a puzzle simulator. I'm like, man, I just don't want to deal with puzzle solving, but that's not really what it is. There's definitely puzzles to be solved with kind of how you stack your mechs together, how you make their abilities synergize, and you build a combat machine via upgrades effectively throughout the playthrough. But surprisingly, it just feels like popcorn. Just nom, 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 nom. Give me more. It's good stuff. So we're going to use Lily up here. We're going to punch away to do 2 damage. There we go. We're going to have Silica step on this, and we're going to have Sergey step over here and just kind of hold to the side. That way, Sergey is going to stop one of these from coming up. Boop. There we go. We did take 1 damage. Only going to be 1 Hornet left. Now, all we got to do is, not die to this Hornet. We can kill it. We can leave it be. We'll be fine. And we'll get victory in 1 turn. Everything will be all right. You can see that bug underneath there, that Vec, is not coming up underneath our tank. But if you notice that we have, hit point damage, that replenishes after every single one of these missions. So there's no need to worry about it. So we're going to get up here. We're going to push this back. We're going to come up here with our ability and artillery it down. And just like that, that's all we needed to do. We're good to go. We've taken the damage. We've completed the mission. Everything's done all right. So this is my 4th or 5th time playing through some of these missions. And easy has gotten just that easy. Now that I'm familiar with the mechanics of the game, but 1 misclick, 1 misstep, 1, mistake, and it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. And just like that, seismic activity detected, boop, boop, boop. These last 3 take away, and we're left with the corporate HQ. We can't quite get up here and, spend anything just yet, but that's all right. We're going to go in, and usually your corporate HQ missions are always destroy the beefed up bug that comes in and keep the corporate tower taken care of. And we only want to make sure that we get these because it's going to boost us up to 8 corporate reputation, which we can spend on stuff. And we'll talk about that when we get to it. So we're going to start this mission. Before we do anything, we're going to take a look at this. This is the leader bug down here. Now this thing can do significant amount of damage. You can charge, it can do 3 damage. It's massive, so it can walk in, in water. It still will prevent shooting, but it's not going to be an issue. It does have a hardened carapace, which is going to be a concern, which means it reduces damage coming in. Now it is also a hive leader, so it's the more difficult one that's here. It's also immune to water on top of that. But its ability here is the flaming abdomen, charge and light every tile in its path on fire, which is not great. Not great at all. We're going to send, Lily up there. We're going to send Silica over here. Leave Sergey in the back. We got to protect this tower and ideally keep our power grid full, because even though we're going to finish this island, this power grid does follow us through if we've taken too much damage. Words are hard. I'm really excited. Oh, man. So how are we going to tackle this? So we just need to push this mech off the way. Now, we can't easily get in there. If we attack from this side, we're going to damage our own stuff. So I'm going to come up here and use Lily to push one into the other. Boop. There we go. Basically, our attack did 2 damage. Pushed it into there, did 1 damage. Even if we weren't enough to kill it, when one of these bugs impacts another bug, you do damage as well, which works out well. We're going to get in here with Silica. We're going to try to push this bug all the way over. Therefore, freeing this up, it's going to do 3 damage into this mountain, but it's going to leave this terrain alone. Now, of course, there's not a lot that we can do here with, Sergey. We can't really get up to where we got to go and get some more damage on in. So we're just going to position ourselves to be a bit more amenable to any threats that come on down the road. So we're going to end the turn. 4 turns left on this big, giant boss battle. There it goes, crushing into a mountain. 1 more comes up, looks like it's a Hornet, and it's threatening us. So all we have to do is move, and we'll be fine, and we're not going to run into an issue. Oh, man, someone's talking about acid. Some of these maps have different things, such as acid repositories that can be blown up, storage tanks, or different bugs or Vex, as they're called, they can come in and do different things. So it's always interesting to know what you can and cannot get away with. Now, I could come in here and punch this, but I want to punch it up the other way. So we're going to do that. Punching away. Boom. There we go. Now, we could go in here and get on fire. That'll be all right. But then we're going to push them into the zone up here where we ourselves could find ourselves in danger. And in fact, that's not that bad of an idea. So we're going to get on fire. It's a downside. It's all right. And we're just going to move out of the way. That'll be fine. Again, actually, we're going to do this to push our own mechs out of the fire. Boop. There we go. We are still on fire, but we are no longer in that flaming location. So it'll be all right. Maneuvering different entities on these maps is as dangerous as it possibly can be, as well as useful, depending on who you're targeting and what you're up against, as much as it is just straight up doing damage. So, you know, it is what it is. Again, there we go, the Leaper. Those are very, very dangerous things. We're going to get up here with Lily. We're going to do some damage down here. Boom, there it is. We took out the big bad. This particular one, Silica, took some damage. Now, we could get up here and do this. We're going to undo that move. There's got to be a better way to handle this. There might not be, and that's the downside of where we just found ourselves at. So instead, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift over here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this so we can push that Leaper to the one side. We don't have to worry about it. And we're going to get out of the fire over here and take a repair action on ourselves, repaired, while this Leaper does no damage, thankfully, to any of our structures. It's an interesting dichotomy on where they decide to go and how you're going to solve that problem and how you can think long-term enough to make it work. Oh man, already we're getting wrecked in here already. But that's all right. We're going to move Sergey down here. We're going to do this to impact this area and push this bug down to the side. Boop, there we go. It can attack a mountain. That's fine. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And so just like that, we're going to come in here and punch with Lily. Boom, there we go. Bug mech taken care of. And we're going to get down here and impact this one. Boop. There we go. 1 damage. Slowly working on that. But that is going to be the end of this because of victory in 1 turn, baby. Oh, yeah. There it is. The bug's going to do its damage, and then it's going to bail. Round over. There it is. That's right, Dewey Alms. You show those Vekus, boss. There we go. Ladies and gents, we have secured the region. Oh, baby. 500 damage. There we go. And we've done it. We've accomplished every archive mission, an astounding accomplishment. And please, you and the Riftwalkers accept this as thanks. So, oh, wow, okay. So we got additional +2 energy. We're already full, so we're going to get plus more 4 grid defenses. Are going to go up to 19, I believe. And we got another one here. After attacking, gain 1 free tile movement. Oh, that's cool. And here's another ability that we could use. We could do this to get in there and do some damage to move other mechs around or move ourselves, which is pretty cool. These are some of the sort of upgrades that we can take with us. We're going to take the overpowered grid. There we go. Defense on up to 19%. So now we're going to come up here and we're going to, spend our reputation. We buy some upgrades for different weapon systems, pulling tanks, shrapnel explosions, boosters so that we can move, which is pretty awesome. Jump jets to the max. Here's where we're at right now. Here's our pilots. Here's all these sorts of things, which is always pretty cool, doing some stuff. Now we could, sell this. I don't want to. I want to hang on to it. But this is how you can donate stuff. You can get rid of it, and it gives you, some of your reputation back. In most situations, I want to hang on to these. It's kind of that Pokemech status. We want to come up here and click one of these. 2 of these. These are the things that power up our mechs. We don't have enough left over, so I'm going to go over here and spend these on getting our grid powered up, which is almost to the point where just slightly less than 1 in 4 attacks on a building are going to be repulsed, which is really, really nice. We're going to get in here, and we have some extra. We have 2 of these that we can do. We're going to install away. Now, we have a decision to make. We could come down here and make this cannon. Instead of doing, 1 damage, you can make it do 2 damage, which is really, really powerful. Or we can do double shot, which just allows us to do 2 damage right off the bat every time. I think that's what we're going to do, because we can always then leverage this by getting 1 more damage point, 1 more reactor, power up, and then pull it out of health and put it down here towards the damage if we want to. But we're going to hang on to it right there for now. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have completed this one. We're going to leave the island, and we can usually pick where we got to go next. They usually unlock in order of the RST Corporation, the Pinnacle Robotics, the Detritus Disposal, and then there's going to be a big giant final zone up here to conquer. But that's as far as we're going to take it today. 40 minutes into the video, some fantastic stuff has happened. I really, really, really enjoyed this game a lot. Again, we had a little bit of a lengthy intro. However, it's worth to understand what you're dealing with and what you're working on. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you much for stopping on by. Next session, we are going to tackle the RST Corporation. And then after that, we're going to go through each of these islands in the big, giant finale. I'm so stoked to share this game with you and some of the cool shenanigans you can get up to. It's really, really enjoyable, and it's not at all what I expected. So, again, you can pick this up on Epic Game Store as well as Steam, as well as on your Nintendo Switch, which is pretty awesome for a pretty cheap price, or on Epic Game Store at least once a year. You can pick this up for free. Just keep your eyes out. But thank you very much for stopping on by. Much appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time. Aw, yeah. Have a good one.